Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Lyds, and we're back for some more Thronebreaker today. And I'm excited to get going because we are continuing on with our main quest, and we are in the general Hawksburn area. We'll just do some looting around here. We actually have a few things to loot. And we just recently did our first puzzle match, and that was definitely a learning experience there. We can nab some resources here as well. And I was just recently taking a look at our map, and it had shown us... Oh, that's not our map. Hold on. That's not our map. That's our camp. I was taking a look at our map, and it had just said that there was one piece of loot in this entire area here, and we obviously just saw that there were 3 pieces, so that further suggests that, although it may generally indicate where to find the loot, it is not always going to mean that every single piece of loot is showing up on our map. Certainly not our hidden chests by any means, but okay. We've got some more people to chat with here, perhaps, and this looks like that may be a fast travel spot.
A peasant cart, loaded with a heap of hay, came rattling down the road from the opposite direction.
Clear the road!
Bellowed Count Caldwell, standing in his stirrups.
Make way for your queen!
The peasants obediently turned their cart into the roadside nettles. As she passed, Meve glanced towards it and froze. Atop the hay bale lay a badly wounded man gripped by fever.
Ooh,
The thick,
that doesn't sound
sweet
good.
stench of rot wafted from his bandaged legs.
Gods. Who did this to him?
Meve asked.
Bandits?
Nay, milady,
Replied the cartman.
That sounds like sickness. A beast? Wow, okay.
Out to the east, down Wetterton way, lies a boneyard, old as the elves, they say.
The peasant continued.
Clayton was setting snares round about there. Came running back to us, drenched in blood, rattling on about a long-haired wench come climbing out a grave. We's taken him to the good sisters of Melitele here on bridge. Perhaps they can help him.
I'm certain they can. And will.
Replied the queen. Though just looking at the wounded wretch, she knew he'd expire before nightfall.
Godspeed you on your
Yikes.
journey.
Okay.
The queen whistled,
doesn't sound
and her
good.
mare resumed its trot.
Shall I send for a witcher, your grace?
Caldwell asked.
One of those freaks should make short work of the monster.
Till we
Excuse
apprehend
me.
the bandits, I shan't allow a single soul to leave our company. Even on such an important mission as finding a witcher.
Meve replied.
Any who did would be captured at once. But, if fate brings us near Wetterton, perhaps we'll see to this monstrous harridan ourselves.
Your grace, we've only just fought beasts and scarcely escaped with our lives. This sheep
We handled
will
it
take
just
the silver
fine.
sword. Magic formulae.
Yet a dozen arbalists will have to suffice.
The queen said, calmly but firmly.
And please, Caldwell, do stiffen your spine a bit. Now onward.
Take that, Caldwell. Alright, here ends the main part of the tutorial. Oh, wow. From now on, you are on your own. Good luck. Alright. With that, I mean, I was under the impression, or at least my guess, was going to be that this general area was perhaps going to all be the tutorial. But that means that at least our main quest takes us down further south over here. But I was thinking that what with us having a question mark here and a question mark here, just general areas that we've not yet seen too much of, that we might go to one or both of those places before we continue on our way toward that main quest. So, as for which one we prefer to do right now, I mean, I don't necessarily have a preference. One other thing I would note is that we did do a puzzle match recently, but that did not reset our morale. So we learned about morale in the previous go-round, and we heard that, while you can boost it or lower it through a number of different things, it will normally reset to just the neutral value after a battle, but just worth noting that it appears as though puzzles do not count as a battle, and understandably, I suppose, so they do not reset your morale, and therefore, that may mean that it is, I mean, I didn't actually notice if our morale was also affecting us for the puzzle, or if that's only affecting us for battles, and that would make some sense, I suppose. But, let's see, can we nab this from here? Are we close enough? Come on, me. Here? There we go. Alright, sounds like there's quite a ruckus over there, and is that the place where we are going to end up going for the main quest? So there's point of interest here. definitely. I was thinking of going toward this one, but we may end up getting thrown into this first. So yeah, let's head in that general direction and we'll see what comes of all this. Anything else before we start moving on in this general area for us to be looting? Oh, there's this guy that I imagine we might end up talking to.
Off to Wetterton, are ye?
Oh!
What are you doing there? Just the folk are beyond shite.
So this is Wetterton. So that's good to know. That is the place that Meve was just talking about, how there was an enemy there of some sort, some kind of monster, and that we either we're gonna try to hire a witcher or take care of it ourselves, and my guess is more so that we're gonna end up taking care of it ourselves. Let's see if this guy's anything else to say, though. Can we? Need to talk to you? Here we
Off
go.
to Wetterton, are ye? What are you doing there? Just the folk are beyond shite.
Okay, yeah, so that's all we learn about that then. I'd say, why don't we just take a look at where exactly these paths are dividing here. Okay, yeah, we did go up here already. We've been there, so don't need to worry about going further north. I'd say I'm intrigued by this cave. I mean, we haven't heard about it yet. Maybe we go to town first, just in case the people in town say, hey, by the way, the monster that's caused us trouble lives in that cave. That might make a little more sense. If that's possible, it may be something entirely different, but what is the deal? Yeah, things don't look good.
As they neared Wetterton, the Queen ordered her company to halt. She then sent men to the town for supplies. Those sent returned more quickly than she'd assumed they would, their satchels empty, their
Yeah?
mouths foaming at the mouth.
Yikes.
Majesty, the townsfolk have gone right mad. Herded all the elves and dwarves at Market Square. 'Tis a slaughter.
The Queen knew well that if she failed to intervene, the town streets would flow with non-human blood. Just as she knew her meager force might not subdue an enraged crowd.
Okay. Sounds like we have quite a predicament here. And what with us technically no longer being in the tutorial, and what with us being on the highest difficulty setting, I'm guessing that things are going to get significantly more difficult right now. So, bear that in mind. We're going to have to be careful. Let's see, we can intervene and defend the non-humans, or we can move on without entering Wetterton. So, I mean, this means we're just completely passing it by and ignoring it. But this means we're taking a risk and we might not succeed, but if we do, then presumably we will benefit from doing so. So, I mean, gotta give it a shot here, but it sounds like this could be quite difficult. Let's try.
What is your command, your grace? Reynard's question pierced the silence.
What can it be, dear friend?
Answered the Queen, then spurred her mount and rode off towards the town. Her troops followed, running as fast as their legs would carry them. When they passed inside the town gate, they saw corpses lining the gutters. Meve realized she had arrived too late to prevent a tragedy.
Oh, man.
The crowd was drunk on blood. Its rage would need to be quelled with an iron fist.
Sounds like we're just going straight into a battle here. It's at least the impression I'm getting, and, well, we might not really be able to save any of the non-humans, which generally is what people use to collectively refer to, say, dwarves and elves. And, well, this is where perhaps our low morale might come back to bite us a bit. Because into battle we go. Neighbors. Unfortunately, this was not Lyria's first pogrom, nor its last. Although the wars between humans and the elder races had ended decades past, elves and dwarves were still painfully aware how quickly rumor can turn to hatred. It does not take long before pitchforks and flails are taken to the streets, and the cobblestones are stained crimson with blood. Okay, so this is actually a puzzle. Eliminate all foes. So we have special rules. It's a shortened battle, just one round, and we'll have a custom deck for it. And I think, in some ways, I might prefer that, since we do have that low morale, and so I think if we're in a puzzle, we're not going to have that affect us at all. Otherwise, this could have been even more difficult. So let's start it up. Let's see how we fare. Okay. So yes, this will only be one round. You have to eliminate all the foes. Let's see. So it's a bunch of 6-power angry mobs. Each turn on turn start, Set this unit's power equal to the number of angry mobs on this row. Interesting. Okay. So in that case, I think what our objective is going to be is we have to try to take them out one at a time, and by doing so, we will weaken all of them. But, you know, I'm also starting to think that we were talking about how I suspect the difficulty curve is going to just immediately pick way up, and things are going to get tough. That might mean that in order to start succeeding, we may need to start investing aggressively in improving our deck here. We may just, quite frankly, not have the cards to make this happen, but let's see what our options are. So we have Reynard. We can give 1 charge to units with the depleted order. So that means, in the past, in the tutorial, we used it on Wagenberg to allow us to use this ability twice. So this is going to be probably our primary source of damage. The problem is that this deals a lot of damage to a bunch of different units, yes. However, as I was just saying, I was thinking that for the most part we're going to try to take them out one at a time. But let's see, what is War Wagon? Because I think this is new to us. 1-2 light infantry on the right. So light infantry have an order. Move to the other row. When they go down, that's what Death Wish is, when they get destroyed, damage a random enemy by 5. Oh, wow. So, that's interesting. We actually want them to get destroyed, and we don't really have a way of making that happen. Huh. This is a tough one. I don't know if we have the cards to get this done right now, and I don't know what happens if we fail, if we get the chance to try this again, or if it is game over for us. If we do get the chance to try again, do we have the opportunity to optimize our deck, or do we have to go in with exactly the same setup? Otherwise, I mean, if that is the case, not sure we're going to fare any better here. I suppose there's a chance we end up happening to get different cards, or I don't know if in puzzles you always end up getting the same deck, or the same hand, I should say. So I think either way, we're definitely going to want to start with the Wagenberg.
Reynard, who started this? I must know.
Does Reynard know? Well, I mean, we can play Reynard later on, but let's see. So I think what we want to do is now we're going to want to play the War Wagon, and well, we'll end our turn here. We don't appear to have any leader ability for this one, which is unfortunate because I'm going to use all the help we can get here.
So much hatred. We must put a stop to it.
Yeah, so now we go War Wagon.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
But see, this is the problem. Is now we... Ooh. Hold on. Hold on. We damage all units in a row. This might be enough. So we do this. Obviously, this is not enough by itself. Oh, but then it's gonna... Then they're gonna get reset to 6 power as soon as we end our turn here, right? Yeah, so that doesn't really help us. Move to the other row. Yeah. So it's gonna say if we could damage them by... Oh, I think I know how to do it. Okay. I think I do know how to do it. Oh, no, I was gonna say if this was an order from Reynard, what we could do is we could... Huh. No, I think I do. I think I do know how you do it. So what you have to do is you need to deal... You need to use the Wagenberg's ability twice on the same turn. And the way you do that is by waiting to use this order ability into your last turn. And so, like, you know, we would want to use the first round now, and then we would play Reynard. That would allow us to use it again, and that way we can play it both times on the same turn to deal all of our damage on the same turn so we can get rid of all these angry mobs on the same turn. Otherwise, they're just going to reset their power, and we're not going to be able to stop them, because that's what we're going to see here, is we play Reynard, do this, sure, we'll get it back, but it's not powerful enough. Oh, although, tell you what, even with that, I assumed that, oh, we're only getting the 1 armor from playing Reynard. We don't get the additional armor from having all these light infantry as well. Is there any benefit at all to moving these guys to the other row? I don't think so. So when we do this, it's obviously not enough. which means we will definitely lose here, so we need to destroy them, right? We can't just outpoint them. I mean, not that we even would here. So let's see. Meve's army was overpowered and forced to retreat to safer ground. From there, the queen planned her next move. So we can load the last checkpoint, or we can restart. So I don't know just how far back the last checkpoint is. Because if it's just before this encounter, or if it's like basically when we're still on that dialogue just before this encounter, then I don't think we have the chance to improve our deck. But if it takes us before we actually enter town, then we do, and I think that's certainly what we'd like to have happen. So let's try this. And yes, it does take us outside town, so that's great. Because that means what we can do here is we can pitch camp real quick. And let's take a look at what we might be able to do from probably a combination of the workshop and the command tent to try to optimize our hand more to make it so that we can succeed here. Because otherwise, I think this is going to be a very tough puzzle to succeed at. So what we want to do is we want to be able to load up on as many units as possible in that row to deal as much, to basically remove all the townsfolk on one turn. Otherwise, they're just going to reset their power and we're not going to be able to stop them. So let's just take a look. Increase the number of trinkets Meve can equip to 3. I don't even know if we have any trinkets right now, so I don't think that's relevant at the moment. Mess tent, we're not allowed to upgrade right now. Enable unit creation and armor building, we've done that. But use scouts to mark location of treasure and resources on our map. Yeah, we saw that previously. I don't think that's really going to help us. Training grounds, I think, is going to be the big one. Gain between a certain amount of gold for every battle won. That's not really directly going to benefit us. Gain 1 recruit after every battle won. I mean, also helpful, yes, but doesn't directly affect which units we can make. Enables you to create new support units in the command tent. This is more so what we're looking for here, and we can just barely afford it, at least from a wood standpoint. Gold, we're fine. Let's see. So we can create a war wagon. Spawn 2 light infantry. Oh. So we did get a war wagon for that encounter. Oh, tell you what. No, we get a custom deck, don't we, for the puzzle? So I'm not sure if we can actually change it. Like, if we make any adjustments to our deck, I'm not sure if those carry over to it at all. So, hold on. Before we overreact by investing resources that we can't get back, why don't we give this another shot here? And I have a general idea of how we might be able to succeed. But I'm gonna skip through this.
What is your command?
And let's jump in, because of course we've already heard this conversation. But let's start the battle. And I'm assuming we're going to get exactly the same hand as we got last time. Hence the whole puzzle aspect of it. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. I think the answer is we want to go Wagenburg first, then Warwagon, then Reynard, and then... Or actually, Wagenburg, Warwagon, then use First turn, play Wagenburg. Second turn, play Warwagon. Start of our third turn, use Wagenburg's ability. Then, play Auto, allowing us to use the Wagenburg ability one more time on the same turn so that we don't actually have the Angry Mob resetting its power. I thought that might have made us fall just short of enough damage, but let's just see what that puts us at. Is there anything else we could do to help us? Is there any reason why we'd want to play Reynard earlier? 1 charged units with defeated order. Because, yeah, I mean, we get to use this order numerous times, true, but we only get to power it up by giving us additional armor by playing the units once.
Who started this? I must know. So much hatred. We must put a stop to it.
So we do that, and we do this for the armor.
Can't take it anymore.
But we don't use this yet. At least... Hold on. Let's see. So what we do... is I'm just wondering if there's, is there any reason why moving the light infantry matters here? It didn't seem like it with our first attempt. What I was thinking was that you go Wagenburg here, Or to even... Hold on a second. Hold on. Ooh. Theoretically, it is possible for us to destroy our light infantry using Wagenburg. Oh no, it's only enemy row? Okay, we can't target ourselves, because if we use Wagenburg on ourselves here, then we could destroy the light infantry. I was wondering if that could maybe be a way of reducing the number of angry mobs a little bit, but I think let's stick to at least the original thought here. That being that we do this, and then we use Reynard.
Her Majesty knows what. We will strike the largest clusters. Disperse the mob.
Yeah, but then we only get one armor back is the problem. Yeah. So we don't go to, 1, 2, 3, 4 for having a bunch of units in here. We only get one additional armor from playing Reynard. So this is not going to be enough here. There's got to be... There's got to be a reason for light infantry to move there. Because there we see. We'll pass here. It's not enough. So let's restart. And the answer has got to be moving those light infantry, right?
Step away, or see your head bounce down the cobblestones.
If you... I mean, it's got to be Wagenburg first. No question it's Wagenburg first. Because that's how you maximize the armor that it gets, and therefore how you maximize the damage that it deals. So I think that remains.
Reynard, who started this? I must know. So much hatred.
Then...
We must put a stop to it.
Gain 1 armor whenever a card appears on this row. So you could play the War Wagon in the other row and move the light infantry in, but that's still not as good as getting the 3 power from, or 3 armor from playing the War Wagon in the melee row. What if we do, because you can only use that order once, right? I don't know. This one may have me a bit stumped here. It's obviously we don't do this. We don't use this now, otherwise it's completely useless. We can't move these light infantry on that turn. I was thinking maybe if you could use this order twice, then you could at least, you start by playing all the cards in the melee row to give the Wagenburg additional armor. Then you move the light infantry out and move them back in so that you reacquire the armor, and that gives you enough. Oh. Hold on. I think I get it. You do this. Then you do this. Then you do this.
Her Majesty knows we will strike the
And that
largest
does
clusters.
allow you
Disperse
to
the mob.
redo the light infantry. And now you have the armor to do this. I see.
Save us.
Alright.
There's killing everyone. Run
Clever.
for your lives.
So yes, light infantry did in fact matter.
Happily, Meve restored order without suffering any losses. Reynard then learned that a
We kind of
nobleman's
did.
ire had
Took us a
triggered
few
the
attempts.
violence, ire at having discovered a theft.
Suspicion fell on the non-humans he employed. He accused them, they protested, and the row soon engulfed the town. But there's something else, Your Grace.
Reynard gestured towards an aged man who stood grieving, his face in his hands.
I've witnesses who claim the strays of Sparla are the thieves.
Though the tragedy seemed the result of a misunderstanding, justice would have to be served. Those responsible for the slaughter would need to be punished. The question was, how severely?
So, we know, or at least we think, that it was actually the strays of Spala, the thieves and bandits, that caused the issues, but the townspeople blamed it on the non-humans and then killed the non-humans for that reason. And so now we need to, well, decide how much we blame them for that. At least, I think that's what it's saying here. Have the instigators hanged, or order the men to whip the guilty parties. So, very strict, or only kinda sorta strict. I mean, either way, they're getting punished. I mean, I would generally say maybe this would suffice. This feels a little extreme.
You are guilty. That can't be denied.
said the Queen, turning towards the bloody rioting's instigators.
A false rumour you took, and turned into a cruel lynch. Thus punishment is your lot. A public lashing, fines, imprisonment. But you shall keep your lives, for enough blood has been spilt here this day.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see just how cruel or merciful we end up seeing. I mean, which one is preferable in terms of the outcomes? I mean, presumably it will vary from occasion to occasion, situation to situation, but previously I remember we were, at least I think back in the tutorial we were in that other town and we recruited the farm people as militia, more or less, and the town did not seem very happy with us for having done that. I didn't think it was a very extreme step to take because it seemed like, if anything, it was the more moderate of the, at least, there was a do nothing option, and then there were two take action options, and the one that we chose was the less extreme of the two, so it seemed pretty reasonable at the time, so, I don't know. But this one, I mean, again, we sort of went with the more moderate, more reasonable, not so extreme option, but we'll see if we ought to have gone
Wetterton's
the more
inhabitants
extreme
breathed a
route.
sigh of relief. But the non-human survivors took offense at the lenient sentence.
Ah, see, there it is.
Soon after, the Lyrian army's elves and dwarves quietly disappeared, deserted.
That's not good.
Few doubted the reason. They would not risk their necks for a queen who held their lives in such low regard.
I see. Yeah, so that's one way to look at it. Yeah, I suppose. Understandable. There's the Wyvern. So I wonder if maybe if we had chosen to be more cruel, you know, punish more severely, then we might have, say, gained some recruits for having those dwarves and elves stick with us. So I think ultimately didn't really get anything out of that encounter other than just being able to go in here into the city. And that does mean we got a little bit of resources here. And here. And we can chat with some people and check out that notice board. Let's see.
They should have stayed put beneath their mount. We'd not have had no problem then. They should have stayed put beneath their mount. We'd not have had no problem then.
Okay, seems like that's all you have to say. Let's check the notice board here. And so we now have some new markers. That's new. Okay, so it looks like green ones are new, or ones that have the little green marker next to them. It might have been just that. So we now know there's something over there that we may not have known about previously. I mean, that looks like the graveyard that we heard some people talking about previously. And then, is there anything else in town here? Well, I don't know. I think we can interact with those people at all. Or these people either? Okay. So this is the... Oh, that looks like the monster we heard people talking about previously. I, though, was intrigued by this cave here. I just want to make sure we're not missing anything off the path, say. So we'll definitely look into that eventually, but I want to see what the deal is here. Reports. My lady, the locals claim a treasure is hidden within the cave. You can send a small detachment to learn what truth there is to the rumor. I must admit, at first glance it appears rather treacherous. Can't guarantee everyone will return in one piece, if at all. Let's see. This rumor, we shall put it to the test. Have the men draw lots, see who among them shall go. So we can basically sacrifice some of our people in order to get some coins. Or we can say, we'll venture into... Or if we are to trust the word of the peasant, we'll venture to every cave in search of a dragon and its mountain of gold. No, this is blathering, and we shall ignore it. So, yeah, that's the do-nothing approach. How much are we willing to sacrifice our units? I think that we might have missed at least one opportunity to get some recruits in that previous encounter that we just did. perhaps even more from other encounters. I would say the options we've had in dialogue have been much more difficult than I was expecting them to be, or at least not so straightforward, and I suppose that is in line with The Witcher, so there's some consistency there, yes, but it is not so simple as, well, just do the nice thing and you'll always get out ahead. No, sometimes, as we just saw, you need to be harsher than that. So I feel as if we've done better with getting coins and wood, because those are the types of things we can fairly easily find the loot for, whereas although we do occasionally run into spots to gain some recruits, I feel like we've missed some opportunities to get more of them. They're a little bit scarcer at the moment, at least that's sort of the impression I'm getting, so I think we might pass on this. And do we have... Oh, okay. It looks like, if we do pass on it here, that in theory we may be able to come back to it on a later occasion if we change our mind. So I do like that. If we do feel like that is preferable, then we can make that happen. And this, I have to imagine, is a battle, right? And our morale is low at the moment. Oh no, it's back to normal. Huh. So did that puzzle count as a battle to reset our morale? Because, like I was saying at the beginning of this episode, I noticed how at the puzzle, the previous puzzle that we did at the end of the previous episode, that it did not do that. So that's a little strange. Not entirely sure what to make of that, but either way, I mean, this, I'm imagining, is going to be quite difficult. So I think it may be time. Talked about it a few times here, but we had not yet committed to it. Why don't we take a look at our tent here and gauge if there's anything we can do to improve our setup. We do have Reynard. We do have Count Caldwell. I thought that these were perhaps going to be cards that we were only able to use in some of those situations where we have a customized deck, but perhaps not. We do currently have our maximum number of provisions used, so I'm not sure that we can make much in the way of improvements here. Wagenburg has been big for us, but that is expensive. So, also not sure we've ever used a regiment drummer. Play the top blitz unit from your deck. And it looks like blitz units are Count Caldwell and Reynard, basically our sort of heroes. Oh, no, hold on. Warwagon is also blitz. Oh. Seems like everybody is blitz. Or just about. Wagenburg is not. Field Medic is not. But there's certainly a lot of blitz units, so hard to predict what that's going to end up being. Yeah. I would say, let's try. Let's try this encounter. I mean, I guess I don't know if the battles are the same as the puzzles, in that if you lose them, you can try again. Or is it just no, you failed and there's no turning back at this point? I honestly don't know. So, I mean, if we can retry if we fail, then I would say, why not? Just jump in, see if we can handle it. Worst comes to worst, we fail, and then we take a minute to improve our deck and give it another shot when we have a better deck. But if we can't retry, then that would suggest that, well, we should play it safer. We should make sure that we improve our deck in advance so that way we don't fail, and because if we do, then there's no turning back. So, since we don't know at this stage, at least I don't think we've learned that at any stage, I think we probably do try to make some upgrades here, because we've been talking about it a bit, and now is probably a decent time to make that happen. Let's see, if we make upgrades to the workshop, it will enable us to create new units, make another war wagon, which I do think we have one of, right? Otherwise, we can do Crushing Trap, which is new to us, Spying, Restraint. Can we look at these cards in greater detail? I'm not sure we can. Set the power of each unit on this row to the average of all units' power, and destroy... That's an interesting one. You average out all the power, so that makes it easier to, say, destroy what would normally be some of the stronger cards, harder to destroy what would normally be the weaker cards. That seems pretty situational. I don't know how reliable that's going to be. And we have Forager. I also don't know what Restraint means. Spy means you'll play it on the opposing side, or at least that's what it means in the multiplayer Gwent, so I assume that's probably the same here. Destroy the unit to the right and boost self by its power. If it's an artifact, boost self by the current power instead. Ooh. That's That's a strange one. I mean, if we had Death Wish units... Actually, we do have some Death Wish units. Those light infantries do have Death Wish, and that would be a potential target for destroying. But, is that reason enough to prioritize this Forager? I'm not sure. I was mostly thinking of increase Meve's movement on the map by 5%. I mean, convenience, sure. But I was mostly thinking if we could, say, increase our provision limit at the command tent. This number here, or technically it's called provisions in multiplayer Gwent, but I think they have a different name for it in Thronebreaker. But that was what I was thinking could help us out here, but looks like we don't have any way of making that happen yet. It may currently be locked. So, not sure there's much we can do to become more powerful, to tell you the truth. So, we may not have much choice in the matter, other than, say, doing other things first here. But I suppose in that case, we'll give it a shot. We're hope that we're strong enough, and if not, then we hope that we have the option to give this another go. I mean, maybe see if there's other things for salute here before we encounter you, like, say, this. My queen. One of the destroyed graves belonged to an elven mage. We might find something of worth, but we would first need to dedicate sufficient resources to have the debris cleared. Oh, so be it. Equip the men with the proper tools and set them to work. We lose coins, but we gain, what is that, a fragment of a card? Not sure we've seen that before. No time to spare, we must press on. I would say, go for it. Give it a shot, yeah. Let's see, so we get, what is that, maybe a quarter? A fifth of a card? Yeah, fragment found. Okay. I don't know if that means that every future fragment that we find will be of that same card until we complete it, and only then will we get fragments of different cards, or if we're just going to continue to have one fragment of one card, another fragment of another card, and we're just going to have a bunch of incomplete cards, and that's going to make life a little bit more difficult for us to make that happen. Let's see. Can we do anything with this building? Perhaps not, but there is additional loot to be had here. Several more additional loots to be had, in fact. Let's see, go around this way, I suppose. There we are. Okay. So, just wanted to see if there's anything we could do that might potentially give us a little more power in anticipation of this fight. But it looks like that's about it. So, here goes nothing.
The Lyrians entered the graveyard. Crickets chirped in its tall, windswept grass, and lush green moss covered its crumbling gravestones. Only a fresh bloodstain upon a mausoleum wall suggested that something disturbed the dead in their rest and hunted the living.
Save your tears, throw off your grief.
An eerie voice sang, its ghastly lament standing Meve's hair on end.
Soon your life too shall cease.
I mean, at least we can understand it.
As you pass into the eternal glow.
A pockmarked,
Nice to meet you too.
pustule-ridden creature crawled out from behind some gravestones. It vaguely resembled a shriveled, hunchbacked hag, until its head split into two halves, forming a tooth-spiked maw.
Attack! Everyone!
Okay. Let's kill it. Let's kill it with fire. Okay, so this is actually another puzzle. Wow. I expected this to just be a normal battle, so I'm a little surprised there. What exactly was the monster Meve encountered at the cemetery? Inhabitants of Wetterton called it a mourner. They believe it to be a she-elf driven mad after her children were killed. From time to time, she would return to their graves to light candles, lay flowers, and make an offering of human blood. Alright, so we need to kill the grave hag. It is a puzzle, so I mean, all the more reason for us to not have wanted to make any upgrades to our deck, because it wouldn't have mattered here. We're going to get a custom deck. There will be special rules, and it will only be one round, so we just need to take out this enemy. Let's start. It's going to be that 16 power card that we just saw there. Let's see. Oh. Well, the Grave Hag is immune, which means we cannot manually target it any ability that can target an entire row will still hit it, but we can't target this one card directly. And every 2 turns on turn start, it will destroy the lowest units. Oh. Which could be its own units. And the Rot Fiends, when they go down, they will damage all units on this row by 4. Oh. Oh. Okay, so what we really want to have happen is we want to play some big units early, and that way the Rot Fiends will damage everyone on this row, and that would be fantastic. So, my question, killing the Grave Hag, is do we have a leader ability? We do not. Because if we did, then we could make these Lyria and Scythemen very big. But we don't at the moment. Let's see, play a copy of each adjacent unit from your deck. I mean, that would be nice. Yes. But... I think we might actually play Count Caldwell first. And it won't trigger his deploy ability, but I think that's a little bit of a trick. Because if we play him, everyone is an 8. That will destroy all the Rot Fiends, and that means... I think we just win in 1 turn?
Keep calm, Tiberius.
I mean, you're about to die, Count Caldwell. Sorry to tell you, but... Oh, but it has a 2-turn cooldown. Or, well, it takes 2 turns before it happens. Okay, I had assumed that it was only going to take 1 turn, so hold on. I'm probably wrong in that case. Let's see. What would be the best way to approach it in that situation? Because we need to play 1 more card. But we don't want to use the Lyria and Scythemen, because they're always going to be a 5. I mean, they could potentially help charge up an Arbalest, but by themselves, they aren't really helping us. The Arbalists are weak enough that they would be the weakest units out there, so they would be the ones that get destroyed. So we don't like them in that sense, but they can damage a unit by 2 if we play it now, which means I think this is going to be how we have to do it. We play the Lyria and Arbalest, and it will, if we hit one of the Rot Fiends, it will lower it to 6, and that means that the Rot Fiend and the Arbalest will go down.
Arbalest to your command.
And when this gets destroyed, it will damage everyone in this row by 4, and then it will be much easier to keep these as the lowest cards out there. So yeah, I think that's probably the answer here. There's the damage, and we lose that Arbalest. But now it is comparatively... Oh, okay, so now what we want to do is we actually want to play a Scytheman. We actually want to play a Scytheman here, because we want to keep all of these Rot Fiends tied for the lowest powered cards. That way they will all get destroyed. I believe that will just kill the Great Hag, or at least will get us very close. Let's do this.
A time to sow.
Alright, it's going to take some time, though, because, again, it takes 2 turns, so now we go with the second Scytheman.
Aye.
And now all these Rot Fiends should go down, and is that enough damage to destroy you? That it is! There you have it! I like that one. That was cool.
What was that filth?
The queen croaked hoarsely as the dying monster writhed in agony at her feet.
I know not, your grace,
Replied Reynard.
but to be safe, I would have the corpse chopped up and burned. Elsewise, we will not be certain it shall not return.
Yes, have it done.
That's one way to
Meve
do it.
said, brushing her hair from her beaded brow.
But quickly, lest dusk catch us in this foul place.
The Lyrians soon resumed their march. As they left the cemetery behind them, some believed they still heard the haunting dirge upon the air. Or was it just the wind, whistling past mossy tombstones?
Who knows? Oh, card acquired. Meve Warhammer. This card has been added to your army and can be found in the command tent. Okay, let's claim it. In the command tent, you can change Meve's equipped weapon, thus changing her ability. To do this, select Meve in the upper left corner of the panel and place one of the available cards in your deck. Okay. Oh, we can also loot the remains of our enemy. That's a fair number of coins there. Remember what? We paid, I think, 100 coins for the card scrap from that other building there? And we've certainly more than made up for it here. So let's take a look at our command tent, and let's see what our option here is. Change things out for me. So we have longswords, what we have been using. So we boost an ally unit by 4 and give it 1 armor, and trigger all allies' loyal abilities. I would assume that any weapon will trigger all the loyal abilities, but let's see. Then move a card in your deck to the top and strengthen it by 3. Then trigger all allies' loyal abilities. So, this gives a little bit more boosting, and it is immediately effective because it affects cards that are already out there, whereas this is more sort of planning in advance, moving a card that we think we're going to want in a future round to the top of our deck so that we draw into it as we go into the next round, and then it's more powerful when that happens. It does still trigger loyal ally abilities, so it does still have some benefit in the short term. Seeing its cooldown 3 and cooldown 3, so that's the same. I don't know. I mean, there are probably some situations in which we'd like to do this. This is in some ways sort of carryover, so to speak, in that we can charge up some power and prepare ourselves for a big round 2 or a big round 3 to give us an advantage then, and that's usually something that's pretty hard to do. So, or at least I imagine it. Again, I'm basing that assumption off of the multiplayer Gwent, but that could make this valuable, although at least from a pure point standpoint, Longsword is stronger. So, I don't know. I mean, I suppose, sure, we'll swap out to the Warhammer just to see how that feels, comparatively speaking. But, I'm conflicted. I'm not sure necessarily which one we're going to prefer. But with that being said, I think this is probably a good place for us to wrap up here after finishing a few puzzles. And, well, the first one probably didn't get the results we were looking for with the dialogue option that we chose at the end, because, again, those have proven to be, yeah, not as straightforward as I would have at least initially thought. And while that has made things perhaps a little bit more difficult, I think more credit to the game for that being the case. I think that definitely adds a lot more depth to it. So I think long term, definitely going to like it that way. And then taking out that Grave Hag there, well, will it come back to haunt this place in the future? Who knows? But anyways, I'll catch you guys next time.